Hi, I'm Jackson Bass with Alabama Wrestling Forums, and I'm here with Coach Stephenson of Scottsboro High School. How you doing today, Coach?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So let me start by asking, how did you get into wrestling?
Yeah, so I was kind of born into it. My dad was the coach at Airwrap, and so, anyways, I started when I was 4 years old. Kind of dragged everywhere with my dad when he coached, and he was officiating as well, and just kind of had no choice, man. Wrestling was in my blood, so yeah.
So, you wrestled under the great Michael Pruitt over at Airwrap. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And
Yeah, Coach Pruitt, he's a great guy. I don't think anybody that wrestles for Mike would ever talk poorly about him. I mean, he is a motivator. He'll get you to go to battle. Um, he would take you under the wing and get the best out of you. You know, so there's nothing negative I can say about Mike. He took a lot of unathletic kids and made them decent wrestlers, So all good from Michael Pruitt.
so you're the first Airwrap person I've had. They're very kind of closed off. But I got to what's going on in that room that makes you're producing stud after stud after stud? What's going on in that room?
Yeah, so I think it has to do with the kids that are there. They want to work, they want to win. Everyone in the room is working. There's just not many weak links. We're not all studs really, but everyone's pushing each other, themselves, holding each other accountable, and that's just kind of the culture that Mike Pruitt kind of built. So I think that's pivotal for any program, and he made it happen.
Of course. So let me ask you, how did your high school career go?
Oh, nothing special. Um, I popped in the finals 5 times, but only got it done twice. So it was more of a letdown than, anything. You get so close, and anybody who's ever taken second, they know that pain. But, I enjoyed it. It was my life for a long time. So, so uh, I got to meet a lot of great people. A lot of tough kids that I wrestled that went on to go Division One. So it was a enjoyable career, really was.
Of course. So I did a little bit of research and I saw that you wrestled at Newman. You
Yeah,
talk about college wrestling, even at Newman's Division Two, isn't it?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So any advice that I would give to a senior that's looking to go wrestle in college, you make sure you do your homework. You don't just go on this one visit and make your decision. Go make several visits. Meet the coaches. Meet the teammates that are going to be there. It's such a pivotal decision, and unfortunately, I don't think I was in the best place to really achieve what my goals were at the time. Um, but you live and you learn. Um, I was probably a 500, wrestler in college. I won about as many as I lost, but um, nonetheless, you take a lot from it and you learn. And it was a good time all in all.
Um, we talked a little bit about college wrestling. You kind of gave advice. Is there any other kinds of advice you want to give to anybody who's even looking into it, maybe at a younger age?
Yeah. So um, that's a good question. So really, I think it boils down to your mindset. Um, if you think you want to wrestle in college, your mindset has to be, I'm going to be a national champ, whether that's JUCO or that's Division One, whatever. Your mindset has uh, to be the best, right? If you don't, if that's not your mindset, or if that's not what you're striving to be, college wrestling will chew you up and spit you out. It will. Um, so you got to think carefully. You got to think realistically about your goals and what you want to achieve. And if it's not being number one, you know, might think, another way. you know.
Of course. So, you know, you started coaching at. Actually, let me start by asking, what got you into coaching after college?
Yeah, so wrestling's one of those things you just can't get away from. You know, you've done it your whole life. Um, both my parents are teachers. My dad was a coach, so I kind of followed suit. Um, so I actually started my wrestling career at ACA, American Christian Academy in Tuscaloosa. Um, and then from there, I went to Scottsboro, and I've been there for 5 years now. Um, so it's been good, man. I'm still green. I'm still fresh. You know, I can still get in the room and roll with those guys. So it's a good time. Um, trying to take what you learn from the sport and um, get these kids to understand that they're getting so much more out of the sport than just being a wrestler. You know, the discipline, the work ethic, the all the things that encompass just a well-rounded individual. Wrestling can give you that. You know, so I just kind of want to be able to pour in to other kids, young guys, and try to shape them and make them men. Through this sport.
So you're over at Scottsboro with Coach Stanton now, and you guys have had a lot of success over the last 5 years. Exactly. You had a team state title or team dual state title back in 2019. That was a group of guys that had a lot. They had a lot of seniors. Those were guys. You want to comment on those guys and?
Yeah. So that was the most fun I've had. That was a special group, and you get those every couple of years. You get that special group, and your Colton Clark, Damian, Caleb, Connor, all those guys, Bradford Womack, all those guys would just battle. They lived for the competition, and Colton seeing success at the Division I level. He wrestled Pitt a couple weeks back and got the old assassin and put the kid away. So it's good to see those guys go further and succeed. Damien wrestling at Life University, and they just won a NAI national championship. So it's awesome.
So like I said, you guys are having a lot of success over Scottsboro. What are some of your keys to getting that success in Alabama?
It's really in the kids. It's if the kid is a competitor, and you see this, is this kid going to go to battle every day in practice? Is he going to be consistent? Is he going to do the right things? And that was a group that did. They were focused on a goal, and they worked for it. That's what makes that group special. Trying to keep that culture rolling is sometimes more difficult. When that group of leaders leaves, you hope that young guys step up and fill that role that those guys had. And sometimes it ebbs and flows, throughout the years. And that's like any program for the most part. But, that's the culture that we're trying to create here at Scottsboro.
So how is the future of Scottsboro wrestling looking right now?
We've got some young guys that are good. John Stewart, he's a 7th grader, took 5th at 106 pounds. The kid's good, man. He knows more technique than I knew as a senior. I'm serious, man. He's driven. He works hard. He's going to be special. We got some good 7th graders. We got a fairly decent 9th grade group. So we'll be back, back on top in the next couple of years, hopefully.
So what was the biggest struggle you guys had going from being, one of the top dogs in 1 through 5A to having to go into 5, 6A this year, such a large division?
Yeah. So this year, the 5A and 6A division, my opinion was probably the most competitive division. You'll probably get some hate sent that way, but 7A is tough. It's always tough, right? You have some of the most elite kids in the state at 7A. But 5A and 6A, you just had a ton of teams where you had a ton of kids that were good. The quarterfinals was a bloodbath at the state tournament this year, and the semis was awesome. The finals was just as awesome. So it's tough. It's tough, but that's what you want. As a competitor, you want to wrestle the best kids. So we're embracing the challenge, and hopefully we can get there.
Of course, the 2020-21 season was, one that'll be in the history books forever, specifically with COVID-19. How did COVID-19 affect your team this year?
Yeah, so having a young group, you hope to get a lot of matches, right? Get them experience, get them some confidence. And there was a 2-week period where we were just shut down. The school administration just said, hey, look, y'all have got 2 or 3 positive cases. Y'all are done for 2 weeks. That makes a difference, in the amount of matches that you can get in a season. So we weren't the only ones. There was probably several teams across the state that just got shut down. And so I guess the playing field was probably level in a sense. But it's tough, man. You have aspirations for going to this tournament and this tournament and matching up with certain kids, and it doesn't happen. It sucks, right? So, it's part of it. It's 2020, right?
For sure. Now, I think the question that's lingering right now is on your Newman profile. They asked you who your role model was, and you answered Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, right?
Role model?
Dude, he's a G, man. Always has been. So I'll back that up. He's still got it, man.
Do you remember what you answered with Justin Bieber?
Oh man. What was the question?
It was, who is your favorite role model and why?
What'd I say?
You said Justin Bieber. He's got swag through the roof.
Oh man, golly! When you're 18, oh Jesus, man. But yeah, dude, he does swag through the roof. I'll stick to it.
Of course. I'm just messing with you. But now I have a segment on my Instagram where I ask Coach the hot topics of the wrestling, and my first question is: should wrestling in the state of Alabama be one division or multiple divisions? And if multiple divisions, what should they be split up into?
Yeah, that's a good question. Certainly a hot topic right now.
A big thank you to Coach Stephenson for the interview, and a big thank you to all of you guys, because without y'all, I would have no one to share my Alabama wrestling content with. Don't forget about our giveaway. The last day to enter will be May 1st, and the drawing will be after the interview that comes out on May 9th. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and take it easy, Alabama Wrestling.
If we want to, the point of your page is to build wrestling in Alabama. And these smaller schools got to see some success. Otherwise, they're not going to have programs. At the same time, it doesn't need to be so watered down that your state champ from 1A through 4A gets tech-falled by your 5A, 6A, and your 7A champ in the first period. You know what I'm saying? So you want it to be competitive at each division. So I kind of think you have 3 divisions. You split up the population of the schools in 3 divisions, and that's how you separate them. Whether that's 1A through 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, whatever. I think you split them up evenly, distribute them, and that's my opinion.
So the next, do you think club wrestling should be year-round?
Should club wrestling be year-round? I think that's the point of a club, right?
Well, I mean, that is like, should kids be able to go to it during season or like during season?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I didn't know this was a hot topic. I think, we had kids in that group that we were talking about with Colton, Damien. They would drive down to Alabaster, go to Shad's and Warrior, and wrestle on Sundays. They would wrestle, Friday, Saturday tournament, and then turn around, drive down to Birmingham, and go get some goes, man. If you want to be good, if you want to be the best, and that's your goal, then you got to find the partners, and they may not always be in your room. So you got to go seek out those guys. And so I don't have a problem with it.
And that was probably going to be I could kind of figure out what your response is going to be to this one. But I've been using Beauregard. I have no idea if Beauregard has a club. But what if someone from Beauregard doesn't have a club nearby them? What would be your response to that? Because the facilities to post one. What's your answer to something like that?
Yeah. You just kind of hope that someone comes in and sees an opportunity, and say, hey, we've got a lot of athletes. Beauregard could be really good. I'd like to come and set up a club, maybe run it out of your facility or whatever the situation is. I think it would bode well for any team in the area to have a club where they can send guys and they get partners from the area. I think that's great. I think clubs are helping Alabama become a tougher state. Your Warrior, your Ironclad, whatever. I think that's only helping. I wish there was more of it.
And you mentioned, like Colton and Damien. You guys don't have. I mean, you guys have Scottsboro, the youth program up there, but
Yeah.
you guys don't have a Warrior or an Ironclad. But you have those kids being willing to drive those, hour and a half, 2 hours to get to a club.
Yeah.
Which is,
you don't have many kids that'll do that, that to put in that kind of grind, that takes a special kid. And I would love it if we had a club up in Scottsboro, that may be something that's down the line. We send our kids, they've gone to Huntsville and trained with JP and, all these different clubs. So I just hope more clubs keep popping up and the sport just continues to get, reach a higher level,
And my last big hot topic question is, girls wrestling is becoming bigger and bigger, and this will be kind of a two-parter at the same time.
Yeah.
How should we go upon growing the sport? And does Scottsboro have plans to open up to girls?
So, yeah, to answer that question, we'd be open to it. Absolutely. Here's kind of big picture. All right. So U.S. women are competing at the international level, right? We have women's wrestling in the Olympics. So to me, in my mind, the USA needs to be in a position second to nobody, right? If we're going to do it, then let's freaking do it. Let's be the best in the world. All right. And if that means that we have to localize and get it going at Scottsboro, get it going in Alabama, then let's do it, man. Let's not say we want it, but not take the steps to actually have the best, So I'm all for girls wrestling. If we had some girls that wanted to go, then let's do it, man. I'd be stoked.
Yeah, I've got a buddy in Scottsboro, and I kind of understand that it's probably easier to get girls to come out in a Birmingham area than it would be in the middle of the country.
Small town's different, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I gotta ask, what are you watching in the back? What's in the background? What are you watching?
I was watching Big Tens, bro. We got RBY, we got DeSanto lighting it up in the Big Ten finals. So
I was wondering what's going on. One sec. Well, Coach, thank you for joining me today. And do you have anything to say to my viewers before we go?
Yeah, man. Real quick, let's just shout out to the guys who won state this year. Congratulations. Guys who took second, I hope you're hungry, you're ready to get back to work and come back and get your hand raised next year. Also, one more shout out to Sam Latona with ice in his veins. Get it done next week, man. You've really put Alabama on the map. So that's awesome.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you, Coach, for saying everything, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Of course.
A big thank you to Coach Stephenson for the interview, and a big thank you to all of you guys, because without y'all, I would have no one to share my Alabama wrestling content with. Don't forget about our giveaway. The last day to enter will be May 1st, and the drawing will be after the interview that comes out on May 9th. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and take it easy, Alabama Wrestling.